Yeah, well, I'm Frank, or Frank, as you might call me. And I started the Dutch Starcraft League in 2013. Yes, I believe. In 2012, I started the Nijmegen Student Starcraft League, and out of that grew the Dutch Starcraft League. And so now we're in our second year as Dutch Starcraft League, and we're doing an Invitational right now. And so my position is I'm the tournament director, which means that I need to know everything that goes on, and I need to pay for everything.
Okay. So you're broke pretty much right now.
I'm pretty broke, yeah.
Okay. But it's worth it.
It's worth it, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better than buying a bicycle or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Experience.
Well, of course, you're gonna hear me say it's overwhelming and amazing, but it actually was that. Leading up to the event, the week before, I clock all my hours, and I spent 100 hours that week, so I was completely knackered. And that morning that the finals were at, so I woke up in Delft and I had to travel by car, and it was the logistics of it were amazing. And at the end of the finals, like when everybody was leaving the World Forum, we needed to clear the entire room, right? So there was computers everywhere, cables everywhere, and I was just standing there rolling up one cable and looking around me and I think, how are we going to get this cleared like by 8 a.m.? But in the end we managed to do so. Some volunteers, they stuck around. And then we had to drive back all our equipment from The Hague to Amsterdam. And the guy we had to drive the van, he said, well, I'm pretty tired, Frank, could you drive? Like, oh, you're sure? And then from Amsterdam, I drove all the way to Nijmegen, where we're at now, to drop even more stuff. And then when I came into my living room at 6 in the morning, so I sat down, feeling quite tired, but also satisfied. And then I looked at my phone, and the one thing that I saw right away was a picture taken by Jeroen Wijmar, the picture that Harstem hugs his teammate or after you won. And at that moment, it sunk in, like what we'd established, basically. So it was something that reached out into the world and that people liked. So I decided right away that, of course, we needed another edition of the DSCL Open in 2014. Well, there were two factors. The one is that I had played StarCraft in the past. I'd been to some local LAN parties. Well, not local LAN parties, more like with a couple of friends, right? So in the basement or wherever. And so we used to play StarCraft, which was a lot of fun. But then, at the end of high school, during my first couple of years of studying, it didn't really play that big of a role. But then StarCraft 2 came out, and so for old time's sake, we decided to play the beta in the summer of 2010, I believe it was. And it was a lot of fun, and what changed then is that for the first time, I watched casts or online commentaries of StarCraft. And I liked it very much. In fact, I started watching it more and more. And at some point I decided, so why not go to DreamHack, because it's one of the big events in Europe, and it's quite close by. And I even found out that there's a bus going there from the Netherlands, sponsored by Intel. It's great. And they take you right to the doorstep of DreamHack. You can stay there for a couple of days and go right back. So I thought, why not? And a couple of friends joined me. One of them is you, of course. And on the way back from DreamHack, which was an amazing experience, right? We sat there with 4,000 people cheering for a StarCraft game. We saw Liquid Red there in the semifinals, and we saw Hero with his heartbeat monitor going up to 160. So we were on the bus in the way back, and I thought, well, why not just set up a small website, invite some people at the university to play a university StarCraft competition, and that became the Nijmegen Student StarCraft League, which of course took a little bit more time than I anticipated in advance. But that was great, and when afterwards I suggested on Team Liquid to turn that into to keep the acronym NSSL and turn it into the Netherlands Student StarCraft League, people were quite frustrated because they thought, well, why would you exclude non-students? And of course they were right. But I hadn't really thought about that there wasn't really a fixed point for StarCraft competition that was truly Dutch. Like there was no real equivalent to the Dutch StarCraft League anyway. So I thought, well, why not go for Dutch StarCraft League? So everyone can participate now. And in fact, the DSCL Open, is open to all players from around the world. Of course, they're not going to come from around the world if you have a prize pool that's more limited. But what we want to do with the DSCL Open is really put the Netherlands on the map as an esports country. And of course, we hope that the Dutch players will take the win on home ground, of course. Mm-hmm.